Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Jacob Burns Film Center. It's good to be gathered around this virtual Zoom campfire with all of you, and I welcome you from wherever you're tuning in. Some of you, in fact, probably from Pleasantville. You know, going back more than 20 years ago when I first envisioned the Jacob Burns Film Center, it was for nights like tonight. Not that I anticipated COVID and the separation that we're all experiencing, but actually a gathering nonetheless, and that's what it is tonight. Um, would love to have this as a conversation and as a dialogue. So if you have comments or questions, just put them into the comment bar where you are, and we'll hopefully be able to share them with our guests. You know, the Jacob Burns Film Center is about great films and great filmmakers. And we have that tonight, but it's also about community. It's about a shared cultural experience, and it's about connection. Film does that, as does music. And when you combine them, it is really special. And that's what we have tonight. Speaking of special, this film is Rick Korn's documentary, Harry Chapin, When in Doubt, Do Something. And our guests tonight are two amazing musicians in their own right, but also amazing human beings. And that's Tom Chapin, Harry's brother, and the multi-Grammy winning Tom Chapin, and Harry's daughter, Jen Chapin. Both are such special people, and I am just thrilled to welcome them here tonight.
Hello, hello. Nice to see you, Steve. Nice to see you, Jen.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.
What a delight. I got to say, the Jacob Javits is, my wife
Jacob
and I, Jay Burns, I'm sorry, I'm thinking Jacob Javits because my wife used to go there and spend days with her store. But the Jacob Burns Center, Bonnie and I live in Rockland County, and we cross the bridge whenever you can to go there. So congratulations on what a wonderful place. And I'm sorry that it's all virtual now, but it'll be back soon.
We will be back soon, that's for sure. And, you know, Tom, I had the great opportunity to tune in, as I have many times before, to you and your two daughters playing yesterday morning. And what a really nice shout out to the Jacob Burns, but also it was a really special day because it was the day after Harry's 78th birthday.
Right. And of course, so we did some of Harry's great tunes. It's amazing. Think about it. It's 39 years ago. He died in 81. Mm-hmm. And what a presence he still has. It's not musically, really. I mean, there's certain things. Music is there, certainly, and the fans remember. But it's really about the rest of his life, what he made of it, and a real activist, sensible activism. You know, he and Bill Ayers decided that hunger was an issue that was just unconscionable. There's enough food to feed everybody in the world, and here in America, 10, 12 times over. And they thought, what an old American idea. We can solve this. We can solve this. Yeah. And that's really what the amazing thing about watching this film again, to see Harry in full flight. It's emotional and exciting and funny, and then, you know, tragic, you know. And then, of course, the end of the film, the last quarter or so, is about why hunger and Long Island Cares and the other organizations around the country and around the world really who were inspired by Harry. So it's an amazing film.
It is an amazing film. And for those people most of the people here probably have seen it because it's been playing in the JBFC virtual cinema. For those who haven't, it's still playing there. And, you know, stay with us for this conversation, but make sure you go see this film because, as Tom said, it tells this story so beautifully. It's not a typical, you know, rock music or singer-songwriter music biopic or anything like that. It has so much heart in it, and it's really about an awakening, and it's about all of us. You know, there's very few people where like you talked about Harry passing in 1981, and it's like, you know, when people talk about when John Kennedy was killed, I remember where I was. I remember when I heard the news, and I can feel it in my body. And I know that's true for so many other people. And it's because of his music, but it's also because of who he was. But I want to start with the music piece because, I heard you guys playing, and I've listened to Jen's music for so many years and just love what she creates and brings out in the world, and her husband who she plays with as well. But you can't help but think of the Chapins as musicians, and you're playing there with your daughters yesterday, and I hear the grandchildren are in the background. I'm thinking they're that they may be singing next, or if they're not singing already. But then you showed this painting of your dad, who of course we know in the film was a jazz drummer. But there's a painting of him sitting in a chair, which was the chair you were sitting in last night.
Well, here's the chair right there.
Yeah.
And there's the painting up there. Let's see. How do I do this?
Yeah, there it is.
There it is. And that was painted by his father. He used his son as the model. And in fact, that clarinet, I played that clarinet for 5 years under duress. I don't know where it is now. I'm really bummed because I thought we ought to take the clarinet, the painting, and the chair to Antique Roadshow.
Yeah.
But it's a wonderful. My grandfather was, and Jen's great grandfather was also James Chapin, the portrait painter, and he painted that portrait. And Jen has a couple of beautiful James Chapin from the 20s, right, Jen, in your house.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing legacy. It just and in some ways it connects with the music because his paintings do tell stories.
Yeah.
It's not just something, but here's a guy with a clarinet, and he's sitting there with and suddenly you're wondering about that. And Jen has one of the Marvin family, these two farmers sharpening a scythe on a huge stone. And you go there and you look at it, and you can get caught right in this, American realism from the,
Beautiful.
Right. Well, you said the paintings tell stories, but not just stories, but stories of working people, stories of regular folks, and that was, I think, a mission. Stories of farmers, people in the market, and the Lower East Side, the tenement district. That's like the one that I have. And so I think that connection to real people's concerns, that narrative, is, I think, where Tom was leading, and then my dad's work as a filmmaker, but led to this, like, let's get into people's minds and hearts.
Yeah. So it's not just the music that's carried on for generations. It's the caring, the heart, the looking at people who are struggling, and that sense of connection, which is really beautiful. Jen, as you were talking, reminded me of a good friend of ours who's a Lakota elder, Tiokasin Ghost Horse, and he talks about how we in the English language we talk about how we grew our garden. We grew what's in the garden. We grew and he says in the Lakota language you don't say it like that. There's no conception of it. What you say is that the garden grew us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it struck me when you were talking that that's true of the music as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's been a lot of this great knowledge and media coming out. This film not being alone as far as people commenting on Harry's achievements and where they came from, the family origins of that. And it's all very flattering for us to think, oh, our family's so special and we're so talented and we're so artistic and so humanitarian. But I think it's, in a way, it's that maybe part of it was the family didn't get caught up in the trappings that keep so many of those basic human impulses in check. The consumer impulse, the get a lot of money and status, the be afraid. We see it in our president. Don't show that that it's possible that you could fail. And I think the ethos of the family was not, that you're such a genius or you have so much heart. It's more like, just go for it and don't worry about, being the biggest. Do your best and express yourself and do stuff that's real. And I think there's a lot of artifice that gets layered on people wanting to, make a lot of money and get a bunch.
I love when you say and just be real, because that is I mean that is you guys, and that is so much of your family, and this sense of we have this celebrity culture, right? And we want to put our musicians on on this pedestal, and some of them like being there, but there's this separation that gets created. And it's the one thing that you never feel when either of you are performing, or and even performing feels like a funny term, but when you're playing, or when you're just in your life. I mean, there's no separation. I mean, Tom for years would come to our backyard in Pleasantville for benefits for World Hunger Year every summer, and there was no separation between the audience and the music.
It's an interesting thing. Harry used to quote grandfather painter, Big Jim, which is a funny kind of dual thing. He said, there's good tired and bad tired.
Mm-hmm.
Good tired, you do your own thing. You work really hard at something that you really want to do. You may fail, but it's your thing. And then bad tired is you spend a whole day or a whole week or a whole year or a whole life doing other people's agendas. And now that works, and it can be a good and bad thing. I'm not sure it's totally true, but it was certainly something that Harry felt, and I feel that I feel blessed rather than special. I just feel blessed that I was able to sort of walk through and find things that I really loved, and somehow get paid for it, and to continue to do it. I mean, I'm 75 and I still get up in the morning, and I really want to, it's a wonderful thing to play these songs and invent new songs. It's an amazing thing. So I feel blessed rather than like I'm some special thing, because it's not any more magical than a great, somebody doing a great truck driver who was amazing, or a pilot or a teacher. I mean, come on, think about that, and how we just don't even value that. I'm speaking to a teacher right here.
That's for sure.
In New York City, and so there's, I think the thing that was part of it was just the identification with the arts, but also identification with the working people, the people, as opposed to trying to get to some imaginary level of whatever it was, celebrity, whatever.
Imaginary is a good term for it. Yeah. Jen, Tom mentioned about your teaching. You wear many hats. You were an amazing chairman of Why Hunger for years, tireless advocate on behalf of so many. You are a musician with a wonderful career and amazing albums out, and you are also a teacher. Can you talk about that?
Sure. I want to pick up a thread, because I was thinking when we were talking about, the family impulse in being yourself, being authentic, because that's something I've struggled with as an artist. Because sometimes I think and I've been aware of how that comes from my dad, like, just get out there and just be real and natural. But then I would think of artists I admire, someone like, Prince or David Bowie, or people who, incredibly hardworking and inquisitive and hungry for creativity, and putting this work into the persona. In David Bowie's case, multiple persona. And I thought, am I just lazy that I haven't come up with some cool like name or identity to come? And it's like, I don't know. That's just what we do. But and the teaching part, I'm a history teacher, and I teach global history for 9th and 10th graders in Brooklyn. And I do feel privileged. Well, first of all, to have a job, and my husband is a full-time musician, and dealing with that really soul-sucking, absence. He hasn't fully institutionalized the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday concert, although he's done a share and I've done a bunch of online performances. But, especially like my husband, Stefan Crump, he's a jazz musician and really so into the magic alchemy of the ensemble.
Yeah.
So, there's only so much you can do with that. He's an improviser, and speaking to these unspoken messages from your bandmates is where the magic happens. And
Yeah,
that one's
hard to do on Zoom.
hard. Yeah, it's hard to do. But yeah, so I'm glad that I had made that transition a few years ago I'm still a musician. I've always been kind of a history-minded person, and that certainly informs, my real deep connection to the mission and the work of Why Hunger, because it is so informed by root causes and history. And right now with my kids, we're talking about imperialism and leading that into World War I as one of the segments. You can't disconnect, the violence that Europe outsourced to the colonies to how it came home in 1914. But also going back to our family, like I've done a little research. We talk about our ancestor, Deacon Samuel Chapin, and there's actually a statue for this dude in West Springfield, Massachusetts.
Oh, wow.
And
Sam Gordon's.
Not that this guy did. I mean, he was a Puritan. He was, one of the wave of people who came from England in the early 1600s. But I think he had an ancestor who was running for Congress in the 1800s and decided it would make him look good to commission a statue of his predecessor. But I've done a little research on this history, partly because I'm writing this autobiographical musical theater.
Essential stories.
Tapping into these family roots and this immense privilege that we've talked about. But Deacon Sam, he arrived, I think, 1630. And it's all very well documented. The Puritans in Massachusetts really wrote it all down. But I'll show you that I bought the book, Tom. But
did you? Did you?
Literally within 5 years, he was in Roxbury first, and then he ended up in Springfield. They're just throwing him acres of fertile land. Whose land is this? Yeah, for his good service to the community. 200 acres here, 40 acres here. Wow. And I do think part of our, freedom as a family to explore and take risks in doing things that aren't necessarily going to guarantee you a good living. We've had land, you can't discount that. We've had it. I mean, we don't have that land in Massachusetts anymore. Somebody does, but we've never had like a huge amount of cash going in and out, but we've always had this sense of roots.
A place.
And so much of, the history that we've been really trying to dig into for the first time this summer, as far as American privilege and inequity, it does connect to land and land theft. And so I'm very aware of that as a total nerd. And as someone who's always felt very lucky, and I think that was what underpinned the story in the documentary.
Yeah.
When in doubt, do something. And I think that was Harry's mantra, but it's like he was in doubt about the meaning of his his success as a musician at times. He had a primal insecurity, I think. I mean, I'm sort of doing psychoanalysis in 40 years later, not, just being a little girl then. But I think he was always aware of his privilege, and especially when he reached such great success. And so he felt like he needed to do something out of the gifts that he earned through incredible hard work, but also through the amazing resources from his family and good luck.
I love that you're out doing this research and telling these stories. When I heard that you went into the classroom and had become a teacher, I thought, boy, are these kids lucky.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, because you combine this incredible heart with an unflinching look at things. I mean, I feel like, you know, it's funny. Your mom's an amazing woman. I love your mom. She's a force of nature in and of herself. And at the same time, you had said at one point, you said, that you are your dad's daughter in many ways, and that sort of unflinching look at yourself and at the family and all of this stuff, and also the desire to tell these stories.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely my mom's daughter in a lot of ways too.
Yeah,
I feel that especially as a parent with
yeah.
a preteen and teen boy. Like she taught me some things. I'm able to channel those lessons.
Yeah. And also I keep thinking about the importance of story.
Yeah,
The film tells Harry's story, but it also tells our story. It tells the family story. It tells the story of hunger in this country. It tells the story of what one man can do. It tells the story not just of me, but of we, as Tom was saying. And I think of that power of narrative, and that's behind all of these great films, these great songs and everything. But in some ways, it feels to me like Harry almost created a genre of his own. There was Dylan, and there were people who were telling more stories, but Harry took it to a different level in terms of the authenticity of the stories he would tell.
I think that part of that is just that there was an open door that he followed. Uh, he was writing all along. He went into documentary films. Our uncle was Richard Leacock, the great documentarian, who was up there with the Maisleys and
Yep.
that whole crew of incredible documentarians, Americans. And when Harry flunked out of school, which he did twice, out of Cornell, he always had a job with Ricky. He'd go and Ricky would say, I'm going to be out of school for 6 months. And Ricky would say, well, come over here and I'll put you, and he'd be syncing film, on a big machine, and he'd put the sound of the thing together. And then, but Harry being Harry, he started doing more and more and more. And eventually in 1968, he did a film himself with Jimmy Jacobs and Bill Caton, the managers of Mike Tyson originally, the boxer.
Wow.
And they had collected all the old footage that existed of the great heavyweight champions, from John L. Sullivan on, and Harry kept saying, "You have all this stuff," and they hired Harry to do 5-minute things on the local channels, the greatest fights of the century. It was like little 5 or 2, 3-minute things. I remember watching them on channel 11, channel 13. These little things, little pieces they put in, and Harry kept saying, "You should do a film." And they said, "Yeah, I know." And finally said, "I'll do it," and he did. He wrote it out, and we did the music for it. And it doesn't exist on DVD now, or on YouTube, but it's called Legendary Champions. It was nominated for Academy Award in 1968 as Best Documentary, and so that he had this real sense, that whole documentary sense fits with the songwriting, because it's about trying to find a character, maybe not a special character, but someone going through something and following it through, the story going through, and how do you make that story work? And that really became when he wrote things like Taxi, and these songs was coming out of that.
I just got shivers when you were saying that, Tom, because all of a sudden it just struck me that is sort of the key to understanding his music, is to understand those roots as a filmmaker, and wanting to tell somebody's story and seeing their humanity.
Yeah, and finding a person, whatever part, going through this thing. And the other thing I remember him saying is, I became a good songwriter when I made myself the villain. When we were young kids, and we had a song that the Chapin brothers, Harry wrote, "I'm gonna walk all over this wide, wide world, see what there's to see. gonna stalk the land like a natural man, walking tall as I can be. You know, about how cool we were, you know. And then, you know, he writes Taxi,
Yeah.
where a guy he's driving a cab, and all of a sudden, the whole thing, you realize the things, his dreams ended up here, and his ex-girlfriend who shows up in the cab, her dreams ended up as being an actress, and a famous actress. She was, and that came from real life with Harry, because he was doing these documentaries, and he had a little apartment he was trying to pay for, and all of a sudden he couldn't get a job, and so he took out a hack license in New York City, and Friday he got the license. He's supposed to, and he got a cab on Monday night, midnight. He's going to go midnight to whatever it was, 8 a.m. or something, and on Monday, all weekend, he's thinking, what happens if Claire gets in the cab? Claire was her name. There's Sue in the thing. But
Yeah.
his old girlfriend, who'd grown up in privilege in Scarsdale, her father was the head of Eastern Airlines, and they weren't sure about Harry, but they said, don't take the subway, take a cab, no matter what. And so Harry's thinking, yeah, and he was a big talker, you know. They had gone through this heavy love affair, and now Harry's going to be driving a cab, and maybe he'd pick her up one night. What would he do? Monday, he gets 2 job offers or 3 job offers, and he takes them all, never drives the cab. But that became the song. You know, it was that just the theory.
The license exists.
What?
The light, there's
The license.
Yeah. I
Really?
think that photo book that your mom put together.
Oh, I should have brought it downstairs someplace. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a picture of Harry's license, you know, Harry Chapin with a mugshot like the old cabs. So that became and then Taxi was like just totally blew everybody away, including Jack Holtzman, and that became the song that broke it. It was never a huge hit, but it got played on the radio, 7 minutes long, and if you heard it, you remembered it.
I was going to say, you may say it wasn't a huge hit, but that is a song that everybody knows.
Sure. And I mean, the number one hit he had was Cats and Cradle later on. But once that his story, he realized how much he liked to do the story stuff, and then he began looking for those things, and that became his thing. But we were there in the creation of all that, you know. And he tried to give us some of his long story songs, because he was writing from the band that I was in, the Chapins, with Steve and myself. And Harry was working in films, but also writing for us and critiquing what we're doing. And he started to give us his long songs, and we said, "No, we can't do that," you know. And so he did it himself. And as Steve says, he showed us. You know?
Yeah, I think of the album "Road to Kingdom Come."
Yeah,
it's just story after story.
Sure. And now, you know, like we were with the daughters, we were saying, well, it was Harry's birthday was Monday, you know, it was the 7th of December. And this is Tuesday, and we're saying, okay, what songs are we going to sing? And we're trying to do songs that kind of it's sort of kind of a family morning music that we do. So we did some of the, you know, we didn't do Taxi because that would take half the show. However, if those of you listening, on Saturday night, we're doing a benefit for the Tarrytown Music Hall. And we're going to do Taxi, so you can get a chance. I'm going to do it, and the girl's going to go, "Baby, so high that she's sky." Anyway, the story thing is really pretty remarkable, I think. And because he was a documentary filmmaker, I understood how a story works. You know, when he wrote those songs.
For
Not
those
that he was his best editor, but when he hit it, it was magical, you know.
Yeah. For those who are watching, what Tom was talking about yesterday morning, and it's every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on tomchapin.tv, is Tom and his daughters Abigail and Lily, and it is spectacular. It's like sitting in their living room.
It is sitting in their room.
It is literally sitting in their living room. But, you know, I mean, that's one of the most beautiful things about, it's a shame that we had to go through COVID and all the separation, but talk about authenticity and connection. You know, we have this technology, yet we seem to get further and further separated from each other. And then when we're asked to stay separate, when we're asked to stay distant, you feel that desire to be together, and you also get a peek into people's lives and their humanity in a very different way. Because it's not on stage; it's literally sitting in the living room with the grandchildren around, and it's it's beautiful.
Well, thank you. It's been for me, it's been medicinal. It was my birthday, March 13th, when Abigail and Jesse and their daughter, little Elspeth Esther, they moved up with us in Rockland County because they were living in Brooklyn and spending a lot on an apartment in Brooklyn. And they came up, and the first thing Abigail said was, all my friends who have little kids, I said, I'm in a playground, they're all worried about this thing. What are you going to do with their kids? 24 hours a day at home, no school. Yeah. And he said, and Dad, you're the right tool for this job. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, you got 13 albums for families. Why don't we just do like a half an hour of family music every morning? So we did 5 days a week for months. And it has centered our life in a very nice way, as Jen alluded to.
When was your first one? It was that first week, wasn't it?
It was the first one was on St. Patty's Day, Jessica Craven's birthday, and so it was the 17th. And we didn't know what we were doing. Abigail got us on Facebook and Instagram with two phones up here and this thing. And we just started doing the family music. And now there's this like a village of people, a lot of whom I think Jen knows, Harry Neidick and all these folks from around, that we've passed through, and people in Dublin and people in the West Coast. And there's one gal in tunes in every day in Paris.
Amazing.
Amazing. And they chat. Hi, how you doing today? How about that? There's a big chat going on while we're singing, and we get a chance to do all kinds of things. And so this week we did 2 days of, in fact, today 2 days of Harry stuff. Yeah. And also on Thursdays now we always get Michael Mark to come in and sing a verse to Circle, which he writes extemporaneously every week. And
well,
John,
of course he does.
So anyway, it's been a like. But what I started to say was it's been really magical for us. And to sing with the girls, with Abigail and Lily, who just harmonize, and we're kind of, as a lot of people say, it's really fun to watch you guys rehearse, because we don't really do any kind of rehearsal. We just say, what are we doing? Okay, and I if we don't know the song, I'll put the words up and we'll just do it. And of course, they know they sang on a lot of the records. But also they have the 4-year-olds that have been playing my records, which are built for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds and so they have the tapes. And so they drive around, and little Willa comes in the morning. She said, "We listen to you, Papa Tom. What song?
Yeah. How beautiful!
Moon Boat.
How beautiful!
So it's been magical.
Linda, who's listening, just said the mornings have been medicinal for them as well, and there's so many people saying thanks. And I have to say, Tom, so many people, know whether it's Cats in the Cradle or Taxi, and all those songs. But for those of us who raise children, I'm so thankful to you because, RECYCLE. I mean, I could go on and on and on. But if I was to say, who was the soundtrack to my kids growing up, it would be Tom Chapin. And we're grateful for that.
Well, I'm grateful for that as well. It's been an amazing thing. And some of those songs, John Forster and I did, This Pretty Planet. And on this, and you should just Google This Pretty Planet on YouTube. There must be 1,000 teachers who've been using it virtually and teaching them how to do this the round.
I also remember Christopher Reeve, who was on our advisory board up in the Film Center. That was a very special song for him and for his wife as well.
That was an amazing thing. We got a call from Chris. I was about to play down in Princeton, that we did every year, and we get a call from Claudia at my office. Gets a call from Christopher Reeve's mom, and she called me up and said, "I got a call. I think it was from Christopher Reeve's mom, who asked if Dana could sing This Pretty Planet because they're coming to your show." And I called and said, "Say yes." Absolutely. And so we didn't rehearse or anything, but she and her son, I said, "Tell them I'll do it right after Family Tree in the show. And if they decide, we'll bring them out." And everybody's in the full theater, and just before the lights went down, and I could see in the back, they wheeled in Chris on that big gurney that he was on, and Dana and their son, whose name I've forgotten.
Will.
And Will, yeah. And then at Family Tree, I look over and they're in the thing, and they came out, and she sang the Judy Collins part perfectly.
Wow.
And it was really emotional for me and everybody else singing. And then afterwards, I spent 45 minutes with them. And what an amazing couple, and the things they went through. And
yeah, he was very much a part of the film center.
That's my first crush.
Was that right?
Oh, yeah. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the hope you have with a song that's maybe will go out and touch somebody, you know.
So you mentioned Family Tree, Tom, and I have to confess to you now that that I ripped off your song because it is the song that starts a little video, a little film that I made for each of our kids in their teenage years, and it was the song that all of the ancestors' images were projected over. So
cool.
I owe you rights somehow, publishing, whatever it might be. But I did want to ask you, since the guitar is there, and I want to spend some time talking about Harry's activism, about why hunger and all of that. But maybe as a transition, maybe you could share a song with us, and then we'll come back.
Let's do. Let's see. The one I'm tempted to do is a song that Jen can sing a verse just by herself, but there's a song that Michael Mark and I wrote for Why Hunger. The biggest thing that Harry and Bill knew from day one was there's enough food.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they have to be hungry. There's enough food. So we wrote this song. There is food for everyone. Father, daughter, mother, son. There's enough for everyone in our green and growing home. In the desert, in the rain.
Is it going to work?
Yes.
We'll see.
By yourself.
In the desert, in the rain.
From the mountain to the plain.
From the mountains to the plain.
There's enough for everyone.
There's enough for everyone.
In our green and growing
our
home.
Green and growing home.
Everyone, no matter who. There's a place reserved for you. There's enough for everyone in our green and growing home. There's food enough to share.
There is food enough to share.
Up to us to get it there.
Up to us.
To get it there.
There's enough for everyone in our green and growing home.
There's food for everyone. Father, daughter, mother, son. There's enough for everyone in our green and growing home. In our green and growing home. That leads into that part of Harry's life.
Yeah, there is food for everyone. Why hunger? So Harry, along the way, meets Bill Ayers, Father Bill Ayers, and maybe you can share a little bit about the origins of Why Hunger and sort of the heroic work of the organization. And
well, I'll tell about the beginnings.
Make it happen.
It was. I was on Bill Ayers' show. Bill Ayers had a show at midnight called On This Rock on WPLJ. Father Bill Ayers, he was a priest way back then. And then he married Janine, who had been a nun, and they've been still living happily. Amazing people. And so I was on the show because I had my TV show Make a Wish, and so he had me on, and I sang some songs, and we hit it off really well. At the end, I said, you ought to talk to Harry because he loves to talk, and it'd be fun, and you ask great questions. So we did. I put him in touch with Harry, and he came on his show, and they found out that Bill lived not too far away out in Long Island, and he said, come to dinner, and they did, and along the way they began talking about how to make a difference, I guess. And they first thought, hey, we could do a Bangladesh concert, for hunger, like George Harrison did. Get all these people, and Harry, people, you can get them, and maybe you could work it. And they went to the UN. UN said, great idea. Well, it never quite happened. But what did happen was they began to investigate and really learn about the hunger issue. And they realized a big concert like that is great, makes a lot of noise, but doesn't really do much. What about next week,
right,
next month, next year, 10 years from now? And they thought, when it didn't happen, they said, you know what? What we need is an organization that's going to be here to do the good, hard work of changing American food policy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was called then World Hunger Year. World Hunger Year. And then now it's been changed to Why Hunger, because there were so many questions about what year is World Hunger Year? Every year, But and Harry and Bill, as they got going, it became their thing, both of them, and they both really committed to this being something that they felt could change the world and would be a life's work.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning. And I think the thing for me that was so Bill and so Harry was the sense of not, we're going to have the hunger group and it'll be our thing. It was about who's doing good work. How can we get partners to do this? Mm-hmm. How can we can put together a thing where we know and have the information to every food bank in America and every church. And so if somebody can call in the hunger hotline and we can put them in touch with people there, and they talk to people in other countries. How do they do stuff? And that's been the watchword of Why Hunger, which has been the sense, and it's a sense of Harry and a sense of, I grew up with Harry. We were 4 boys with a very tough stepfather who was just not equipped to be a father. And it was not fun. And we became very close. And the whole idea was we. I remember we listened to the Weavers at Carnegie Hall. I'm 12, Harry's 14, Steve's 11. End of the summer, Harry says, we could do that. And that's the energy of Why Hunger. We could do that. And then he tells you why it's a good idea. Come on, and all of a sudden this happens. It's been 39 years since Harry's been gone. Harry hasn't kept it going. It's all the people who listened to Harry and who said, yes, we can be part of this.
I love that you started that by talking about Harry loved to ask questions, because to me, World Hunger Year then becomes Why Hunger, but it was always about a question, right? It was always the question that was first and foremost, which is, why are people hungry in a world in which there's more than enough food? And it was those questions that Harry asked, that Bill asked, that so many people in the organization and all of the partners in this extraordinary, Why Hunger is one of the most extraordinary organizations because it is grassroots and it's in its heart. It is a we organization. It is the original collective. And one of the people that I just wanted to bring into this room, because as you said, Harry didn't do it alone, and the Why Hunger that I knew so well, the non-singing Chapin brother, James Chapin, Jim Chapin, was an extraordinary force for good in the world, and so ably led that organization for so many years, and is really missed.
Oh yeah, he died at 60, and I miss him every day. He was the brains. He was not. He was a little bit deaf and not a musical. He loved music, but he was not really a musical Chapin. And he had these three younger brothers who were much bigger than him. He was 5'7", I'm 6'5", you know, and Harry was 6'1", Steve 6'2", you know, it's like the big noisy brothers. And he held his own. He was the brains of the outfit, you know. And in Why Hunger, he was such a central with Harry and Bill. The planning of it was astonishing, as you know, because Steve, you were part of on the board for so long. Yeah. And just watching him there, and he'd been forgotten a little bit, but not by us. And I want to tell a story that happened when Harry died, and we were all shocked, and just the world had shaken and split. And at the memorial concert, which was amazing at Grace Church with this incredible slew of people, our family was shocked by who showed up. Like, oh, that's what he was doing? I thought he was just singing songs someplace. But there's Ralph Nader, and there's Pete Seeger, and there's Patrick Leahy, and there's on and on and on. There's all these people from different walks of life, and Steve Goodman, and James got up there and said, you know, a lot of things. He said, a very short, memorable speech, but one of the things he said was, you know, Harry's gone. We can't be Harry. Can't try to be Harry. Even if we could, we wouldn't want to be Harry. But what we can do is fill our own shoes a little fuller. And to me, that was like, it was a clear, like, oh, that's the path. You know, all these things I can't pick up by how I can't, but I can do my part of these things, and that became a clarification for me in my life. Really,
that's beautiful. I was telling you recently that I remember Jim saying that. That when he gets to heaven, he's going to find Harry and tell him that he had carried Harry on his back for the last 20 years, and it was Harry's going to carry him for 20. and Jen, you took over for Jim, and you've been on the board for so many years. You were the chairman of Why Hunger, so involved in Hungerthon, and Hungerthon is something that has had an enormous impact on people's lives, and is ongoing right now. And can you share with us, you know, a little bit about Hungerthon and how people can participate and why it's so important?
Sure. Well, going back to the legacy of Tom's brother, my uncle Jim, what was the phrase he would say? He would spout incredible data and facts and historical analysis and rapid fire. His nervous energy. Remember, he would
pencil. Yeah.
Oh,
I know. He would always say. I said, James, what do you know about in college? I said, James, I got a paper about South American something or other. He goes, well, I don't know much about it, but here's what and then the next hour and a half, I'll be right. Slow down. And that would be my paper. You know?
He would love that you're a history teacher, Jed.
In those monologues, he would say, well, you know, like phrase that was like, well, of course you're aware of this. But I mean, he was extraordinary in his knowledge and recall, but that really does speak to the origin of Why Hunger, and the fact that Bill and Harry right away were like, okay, we got to do the research. We got to do some reading. And they apprenticed themselves to people like Frances Moore LePay, who 20 years later, I went to intern with when I was in college. Her daughter, Anna LePay, is an incredible activist, has an organization called Real Food Media that is involved with the storytelling. And yes, that's so much of what Hungerthon is about. And given that Hungerthon is our annual Thanksgiving time fundraiser that continues into December, it is often, you know, we're on Sirius Radio. We had like decades with WNEW, which is, I think, where it all started. Bill having the whole origin of the organization being born through this meeting on the radio, and Bill being an iconic Sunday night host for 30-something years on WPLJ. But you know, so you do get into sound bites sometimes to try and get the message out. And you know, it is the impulse of, we tend to say the American people, but I don't know, isn't it everybody? You hear about somebody and you want to help. You know, people give without even all the data, the statistics, the information, but the stories. But we're so much wanting to do a narrative shift, because even all of these amazing impulses of, and America, the emergency food network, Feeding America, these organizations are no-brainers. Everybody across the political spectrum, give to the food bank, make sure there's turkeys at Thanksgiving. But from the beginning, my dad was saying, what about the day after? We got to ask these why questions. These are structural injustices. And when we have people, we have the supplemental nutritional assistance program, otherwise known as SNAP, otherwise known as food stamps. It's a wage support. We have constructed an economy where you have people working for the most profitable corporations in the world who then have to apply for food stamps. I did a benefit for the Nevada Food Bank in Reno, Nevada, a concert some years ago. And I was hearing from people at the food bank that the casinos would actually invite the government benefit agency workers into their corporations so that people could sign up for food stamps. So unabashedly saying, we're not paying you enough to support your family. And this is a fundamental problem. This is a disgrace. This is what my dad called an obscenity. You have to have a living wage. What's the solution to hunger? Mentors like Francis Moore Lepay said, hunger is not from a deficit, an absence of food. It's from an absence of democracy. And we're living that in our country here, where we have a disconnect. We're a democracy, we vote, we participate, but there's a basic misunderstanding about how our economy has come to be constructed, so that most people who are hungry, now people are unemployed in mass numbers, but most people who are hungry are somehow connected to employment. Someone in their family, either their children, either their old people, they're people who are working minimum wage, they're people who are not getting enough hours because their employers are keeping them below 40 hours so that they don't have to give them benefits.
Right.
And it's just structural. So this is where you get into politics.
I want to take a second and just let that land, because it's easy to hear it and to move on, but it's really important to let it land. That this is not something that goes on in Republican administrations and not in Democratic administrations. This is a structural issue, and this is actually about our will, our political will, right? And what kind of society we want to create. And it is that notion of personal responsibility. I think one of the things really important about why hunger, and to me, what speaks so powerfully about it and why it's so important to support that organization through hungerthon.org, is that, there are Harry Chapin food banks, and there's no question that for somebody to be hungry, that food is essential. So we're not saying that. But one of the challenges of this organization is the communication of that idea of the day after, and the communication of the idea of breaking the cycle of hunger and poverty. Right?
One of the amazing things that Why Hunger's been able to do in the past decade or so is the emergency feeding community, which is a massive, incredibly efficient, industrialized, supported infrastructure. It's been begging for this, because the volunteers, the staff, they're saying, we can't keep doing this. Yeah. I went into this to help people change their lives, and it's just the same emergency. The emergency is the American economy and the global economy. But we have an initiative called Closing the Hunger Gap, which is bringing together all these emergency food providers into strategizing on how to make these structural changes, how to foment and amplify the voices of people who are suffering from hunger and poverty, and build leadership, how to mobilize communities. and one of the things we've also seen from the days in 1975 when Why Hunger was started is there used to be this very paternalistic, and you see this now, like across the world, global charity. We just need to teach the Africans how to farm. People know how to farm.
Right.
If they weren't kicked off their farms and forced to harvest rubber or sugar cane, that would help. But we just have to help the poor. It's like, no, you have to listen. You have to look at the grassroots. You have to see the leadership that's on the ground. You have to find out what solutions are there, but need support and amplification.
Yeah,
one of the ways to talk about this is also just food justice.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a clear idea that people deserve food.
It's for everyone. It's talking about building local economies, and one of the real impulses. Why Hunger's been ahead of the game in talking about gender justice and racial justice, but especially climate. We've been really active in international movements for agroecology, which is taking together the best of traditional knowledge, people who know from generations how to live off the land and the variabilities of their climate, and know that you can't just take the fanciest genetically modified seed from Monsanto and whatever kind of stuff is getting thrown at you. You have to be more intuitive and more counting upon ancestral knowledge combined with modern technology and science.
Yeah.
These are the movements that are totally inspiring. And if you look at whyhunger.org, and you can sign up. We have some excellent publications. If you want to know more, it can be a little overwhelming, all the positive inspiration you can find.
Yeah. That's whyhunger.org.
Yeah, whyhunger.org. Whyhunger.org leads right. You can click to link to Hungerthon, to our fundraiser, and we're doing in Hungerthon. We have actually, if you've got about $3,500 swishing around in your pocket, you can get a private virtual concert from Papa Tom and the Chapin.
There you go.
I think the latest bid when I looked last was 1,000. It could have gone up from there. But there's a lot of, or I don't know, you can get a signed guitar from Bon Jovi, or there's all kinds of fancy stuff. And some tickets, and also our wonderful board member Joe Durso is offering up a concert online there. But that's from hungerthon.org. But if you go on whyhunger.org, you can also find Hungerthon without very much trouble at all, or become a monthly donor. One of the things that Tom and I have both been active in spreading the news about is for an organization, especially ours, it's not that big. We get a lot of bang for our buck. But having small, and I know it's the same for Jacob Burns, where you guys must have small monthly donors.
Yes.
With that like regular income stream, even if it's $5 a month, $10 a month, then organizations can make plans, budgeting, and be strategic on another level.
Yeah, I think it's also, it's interesting. I know from the Film Center's perspective, and I'm sure for Why Hunger, that the membership is not just about the financial support, but it's the sense of community. It is that and as we build that community, it strengthens, it supports the staff, the people who are out there doing the work, because there is that sense of a collective vision and collective energy that's being put into it. So that's really a wonderful thing. And Tom, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I might, and you can say no. But I was thinking that there's a song of Harry's that to me feels in a funny way really connected to this conversation we're having. It's a song that you played with Abigail and Lily yesterday, and it's a song that Bruce Springsteen covered in a concert in Harry's memory when he got the National Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
And it's a song called Remember When the Music. And to me, what it speaks to in this moment is that time when things were simpler and when we felt that sense of we. And could we ask you to share that with us?
Sure. I got to tell you, I'm remembering with Harry. I went down his last album, Sequel, and the producer, I can't forget his name now, but they wanted a different guitar player than Harry that could sing. So Harry brought me down, and I played a couple of on this song. Remember when the music came from wooden boxes strung with silver wire? And as we sang the words, it would set our minds on fire. For we believed in things, and so we'd sing. Remember when the music brought us all together to stand inside the rain? And as we all joined hands, we would meet in the refrain. For we had dreams to live, we had hopes to give. And all the times I listened, and all the times I heard, all the melodies I'm missing, and all the magic words, and all those potent voices and the choices we had then, how I'd love to find we had that kind of choice again. Remember when the music brought the night across the valley as the day went down? And as we'd hum the melody, we'd be safe inside the sound, and so we'd sleep. We had dreams to keep. Remember when the music brought us all together? I'm not sure which one I am. The girls have been singing this recently, and I haven't. Remember when the music was a rock that we could cling to, so we'd not despair? And as we sang the words, there was an echo in the air, and we were smiling then. We will smile again. And I dream that something's coming, and it's not just in the wind. And it's not just for tomorrow, and it's more than where we've been. It's something like a promise that's telling me begin. I know we're needing something worth believing in. I remember when the music came from wooden boxes strung with silver wire. And as we sang the words, it would set our minds on fire. For we believed in things, and so we'd sing, and so we'd sing, and so we'd sing, and so we'll sing, and so we'll sing.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah. There's a lot of verses there, and I forgot one or two of them, but you got the idea.
We loved it. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, there's so much love in these comments going through. I saw Adam Walker mentioned that he was so inspired by Harry that his son's middle name is Chapin. I'm sure there's so many people who carry his name, inspired by him, and may his song be sung.
Yeah.
Jen, this film came about. Rick Horn made a beautiful film. So many home movies. You as a little girl, and now as a mom with kids older than you were when your dad died. What can you share a little bit about, like, what that experience is for you in seeing this documentary and what it means to have this story out there in this moment, because it is a story for this moment too.
Well, we watched it all. I'd seen different pieces of it over the progress of the journey of its making, but watched the full final version with my husband and my two boys. And it was funny because my older son, sort of sometimes would say irreverent things, or he would duck out of the room, but now he's kind of, well, he'll randomly he's working on his algebra and he starts singing WOLD, funny things, or wanting to know more.
Yeah.
But I guess, I've wanted them to have their own kind of relationship to their grandfather. They have a very strong history with their great uncle Tom and great uncle Steve, and which is so much parallel with my own childhood, because I started singing not with my dad but with my uncles. Them accompanied.
We've been listening to it. We've been listening to
it, and I would get to sing Shooting Star, and I always felt like I was set up for success, because I'd be walking up on stage with these, professional veteran musicians behind. Oh yeah, I'm getting there. And here's Harry's daughter singing one of Harry's songs, and I just have to keep the tune together and not fall apart, and everybody's going to be crying. So it set me up to be addicted to the stage. But yeah, so Tom, I think this was part of the journey towards your children's album.
It was. I was 3 months late in my rent in Brooklyn, and all of a sudden I get a call from Steve Mazarski. I was actually playing on Broadway in Pump Boys and Dinettes show on Broadway. Mm-hmm. And I did the last 6 months of that show. Anyway, I get a call from my friend Steve Mazarski, who's a music lawyer, and he just, Parker Brothers has bought the rights to the Cabbage Patch Kids, and they want to do and so they asked me to put together a production team, and I suggested Steve Chapin, and they said, Steve Chapin, is he any relation to Tom Chapin? I said, really? They said that? He said, yeah, they were at Pump Boys and Dinettes the night before, and so I saw you there. So he said, and so Steve Mazarski says, I think you can get them both. I'll try. So they paid us a lot of money. We had a buyout, and that record sold. It's like triple platinum,
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And we heard certain things like the song that you sang was the favorite song of Diana Ross's child. And they used to play it all the time, sing it together.
I went to one of those girls. Is it
what?
Tracy Ellis?
I don't know, Diana Ross's.
So Jen, you have a song on the Cabbage Patch Kids album.
I have a poignant duet.
With?
Because I was singing the part. Mostly I was in the chorus, or, solo lines here and there, but I was Rachel, otherwise known as Raimi. I was a Cabbage Patch Kid. And I had a friend named Sybil Sadie, and we were kidnapped by the evil henchman Cabbage Jack, who resented the cabbages,
yum, yum, yum. Cabbages, give me some.
Cabbage Patch Kids, are problematic for a rabbit, because then they're kids and not cabbages. And, he needs to eat cabbages. So there's all kinds of backstory. I was kidnapped. We sing a song called Get Back Home with a super uber. I was maybe 12 or 13. And this kid shows up. He's like 9. And he is just like child star pro. This kid named Ari Gold. And if you look him up, Ari Gold is a common name, but if you look up Ari Gold gay icon, you will see somebody who came out in New York City. He's from an Orthodox Jewish family, wonderful family. And he was singing very young, but early on he was like, I got to be who I am. And he came out before it was trendy. And he's a gorgeous man, wonderful singer and songwriter. And a real hero for the LGBT community in New York. But anyway, he was my duet partner because and he had the harder part. He had to do the harmony because he was the pro.
But Jen was we were looking for the kid to do this, and Jen had this wonderful plaintive, "We gotta find a way to get back home. This time I'm really on my own." We've been playing it for little girls, and they sing it. You should hear it.
I LP. I only have the Christmas one, which I sang on that too. But I got my first real singing gig from.
I know what I'm giving you for Christmas. I got one here.
and then, my Uncle James is like, "Oh, Jen, I think you should be the next board chair." And it's like, okay, well, isn't there a process for this? I'm just, but I took it because I knew I was ready to do the work.
Yeah. Well, I have to say a couple of things about this, Jen. One is that you mentioned Shooting Star, one of your dad's songs, which you have totally made that your own song. I mean, to hear you sing that song, I can feel that right now. And I know it's been a long day for you. You're in teaching mode, you're in school, you're doing all these amazing things. What I would love to do is when we get past COVID, let's do this again at the Film Center, and maybe you share that song with us because it's really beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
This would be great to do it live. And Steve, you've been wonderful to talk to as always. So it's a lovely thing. I did want to just mention the Cabbage Patch thing, which was interesting. It was that Steve and I had to do this in about 3 weeks. And so Steve was working he had his wonderful ad business, Look and Chapin. And he did, they did brush your breath with Dentine, Brother Steve. Yeah. And he just got his best writers together and gave me each a song. And one of them was John Forster, who I met. And John Forster became the one who, when I had to do a kids record, a couple of years later, I decided that maybe I should do a kids record. And my daughters were 8 and 6, and they'd outgrown the little toddler music. And I went to John and said, "How'd you like to write a kids record with me?" And he said, "Sure." Then we started talking about it. So all these kind of tendrils that wind through, and these, your life has these little circles that intertwine. And I feel blessed that how many times it's led to something,
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
John's wife Vicky coached the kids to
right.
Cabbage Patch, and then she became my voice teacher. The Long Island Railroad into Upper Manhattan for a weekly lesson.
Wow. So there's for those who haven't seen this film, you need to see it. It's really beautiful. One of the things I really love about this film is, so many documentaries. First of all, the people who in it are amazing, right? I mean, it's incredible who Harry touched and collaborated with. But what's beautiful is they're not these normal tributes of just about the music or whatever. I mean, he moved so many people. He, like you said, of Jim saying, we just fill our shoes a little bit more. That's what Harry inspired and asked for so many people. And one of the things I really love about the film is that, yes, why hunger is out there and you need to support it, and Hungerthon, but there's also another call to action. All these films have like a call to action. This is something beyond it, because the call to action for me is even in the title of the film, which is to take the moment to say it's easy to get confused about what we need to do, right? It's easy to feel overwhelmed with what's going on in the world today. It's easy to feel like your little bit can't make a difference, right? So the call to action of this film and I really want to say of Harry's life and legacy is just that: when in doubt, do something.
I want to put in a plug as the teacher for that first step of something to learn,
to be curious,
to learn how to make your best impact, be your authentic self. Maybe it's learning more about yourself, but, especially when it's issues like hunger, there are a lot of complex forces at play. And, one of the wonderful comments I've been looking at, somebody talking about, I'm not going to track it down, but we were children singing together, singing
Mhm.
music, or maybe it was This Pretty Planet at a Tom concert. But like, we were so united then. And it's like partly the why the nostalgic time, Harry's time, 10 years ago time, 15, when there was a common sense of information that was agreed upon. And I think right now, people are not agreeing with basic facts. And my dad was always about, learning learning the root causes, getting the information, being curious, listening to people.
Mhm.
And we all need to, if we're true patriots, we need to understand the Constitution. We need to understand, which I've taught government, and it really is a pretty good thing. It's pretty robust, that Constitution. It's got some problems here and there, but we really have to do our homework, as part of doing something, because too many people are. I mean, we saw the greatest turnout in this past election we've ever seen, but a lot of people were acting and posting and twittering, tweeting on misinformation, and not, bringing an essential sense of curiosity, hunger for knowledge, and empathy.
Yeah.
And so that has to be the first step.
Bingo.
Thank you, Jen. We started this evening, and I want to bring it full circle before we say goodbye, talking about, being around sort of a virtual campfire and the sense of community, of a shared experience, and of connection, and that sense of the circle. And Tom, maybe you can share a story
I wonder where you're going.
of a Chapin anthem and where this song came from. Maybe you can share it before we all say goodbye tonight.
So it was summer of '71, and that was the year that Harry got back into music. And we had rented the Village Gate, and we, meaning the band that I was in with my brother Steve, the Chapins, four-piece rock band, good vocals, interesting songs. Some of them were Harry's, and Harry was our opening act. And the first, and at the same time, I got a TV show that same summer. And so during the day, for a month and a half, I was all filmed in New York. It was a word game, Make a Wish. And I made a wish, and they take a word, a bull to be. Imagine all the possibilities. If you were a bull, you could be a bullfrog. You could be a bulldozer. A bull is not a ring, but there is a bull ring, And then they have always fast cuts. And they needed a songwriter, and I was not a songwriter at that point. And so I said, well, my brother writes songs. They said, okay. And so they got Harry to write the songs. And that first year, he wrote all the songs, maybe with Sandy a little bit. And so it's a Sunday night. Next morning, I have to do my show. And we just finished a weekend at the bitter end. And we're having a burger at a joint in Brooklyn Heights. And Harry's about to take the train to go out back to Long Island, and where he was living with Sandy at that point. I said, Harry, you got the songs for tomorrow? He said, oh, what is it? I said, Circle. He says, Circle. Okay. I said, well, wait. I need it tomorrow morning. He said, well, what time do you leave? And I said, well, I leave at 7:15. He said, I'll call you at 6:30. Next morning, I take a shower, the phone rings, I run out. He says, I got the song. Get it. You got a piece of paper yet? Okay. All my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. So I write down the verse, and of course, it's the same melody. I said, what's the melody? Da, 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 da. So I instead of writing the music out, I go, bum, 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 that's the third, the fifth, da, 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 da. I just write little dots under the things. And I practiced it a couple of times with my mother, who I'm living with my mother at that point, because I just come back from, and so I'm playing this thing, and I'm sang it a few times. And then that day, I walk around the Alice in Wonderland fountain in the Central Park, singing all my life. And it would have ended there, except my mother, who had heard that song, when I first heard it over the other radio, I'm practicing it. Every time she saw Harry, the next 3 or 4 times, said, Harry, that Circle song, that's a good song. And she never said that, And finally said, okay, Mom. And so she, and so he wrote a third verse, and that became, and then when he had to do his album, he didn't have 10 songs, but so he put Circle on it. Okay, next year throws by, and that's the year that Harry hits with Taxi and all this stuff. And next year, they're going to do Make-A-Wish in London and in England. So I'm bugging Harry. He has to get all the songs together before I leave. So he and Sandy, I think the 2 weeks or 3 weeks before it, were at night. They're sort of working, right, this thing. And the night before he gives me the tape, he has to write a tune to every one of them. There's 26 songs. So I'm on the plane with his tape. He gives me his tape, and I'm listening on the tape, and I go, oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. So I had to rewrite like 3/4 of them, taking his ideas mostly and Sandy's ideas, but that's when I became a songwriter, actually. But I get to England, and the #1 record in England is by the New Seekers, who had just had "I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing in Perfect Harmony," the Coke commercial. Their follow-up single, which did nothing in the States, we never heard it, was "All My Life's a Circle," the song Harry had written the year before for Make-A-Wish. For me, I was totally blown away. I said, wait a minute, that's, you know. So it shows how quickly these things can sort of, and so we've sung this in so many places and so many times, and it's such a great song. It goes, all my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown, the moon rolls through the night till the daybreak comes around, and all my life's a circle, but I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round again, the years keep rolling by. Jen, sing us a verse a cappella. It seems like I've been here before.
Seems like I've been here before. I can't remember when, but I got this funny feeling that we'll all get together again. No straight lines make up my life, and all my roads have bends. There's no clear-cut beginnings, and so far no dead ends.
And I have found, here's the verse that my mom pushed Harry to write a third verse. I have found you 1,000 times. I guess you done the same. And then we lose each other. It's just like a children's game. But as I find you here again, the thought runs through my mind. Our love is like a circle. Let's go round one more time. Everybody listening, you can help us. All my life. All my life's a circle. Sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, but I can't tell you why. Seasons spinning round again, the years keep rolling by. A lot of harmony, the years keep rolling by. And the years keep on rolling by. Bye, 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 bye.
Whew. A huge shout out and thanks to Jason Chapin, who's a great neighbor of the Film Center and a tireless worker for the benefit of so many people. To your mom, Jen, Sandy, who I admire so much over the years, and your whole family. To you, Jen, the work that you do in the world, the people that you touch, and Tom. I was thinking back, it's been more than 30 years since I've known you guys, and admire you so much, and so grateful for who you are, and for taking the time tonight to join everybody at the Film Center and around the world. And so much love in these comments, and so grateful, and can't wait to have things open up again, and to see you in person, and to welcome you back to the Film Center.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Steve. Man, and to you as well. Go ahead, Jen.
Comments. if people want to follow up, I'm on Facebook, Jen Chapin Music, 2 sites. Tom has 2 sites there as well, and our websites with our names. But, send us an email, right on Facebook, and we'll answer questions and be in touch. And
also, a bit on me. That concert ends tomorrow at noon, I think, and it's coming down to the end. So, and the wonderful thing about this concert is, I usually do it with my band members, Michael Mark and John Cobert, but then we had to do it within a certain, like 25 miles of New York City. But this is across the world. This is and it's my wonderful singing daughters, Abigail and Lily, the Chapin sisters, and we will. If you win this virtual concert, we will tailor it with you, whatever you want that we can do. We will do that, and you can invite anybody, your family, your friends, and you can make it a benefit for something you believe in. Mm. So, and all the money that comes in on this concert goes right to Why Hunger. So please do that. I also want to give a shout out to Claudia Leibowitz and. Who is my stalwart person who keeps been running my life for many a year. I get to be the flake, and she just says, "Wait a minute, what about this?" Yeah. And so, thank you, Claudia.
And some final love tonight to the great Bill Ayers, who we all, I know, admire and love so much. To Noreen Springstead, who's doing it every day at Why Hunger. To the whole staff. Yes. To so many people who are doing something.
Yeah.
And with that, I say thank you so much. Good night. Good night to everybody who's watching around the world and from Pleasantville. And thank you, guys.
Beers keep rolling.